What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Soup's UFC Preview. We got some bangers this weekend, boys. August 17th, we're going down in Perth, Australia, UFC 305. We have the middleweight championship up for grabs with the champion, Dricus du Plessis, fighting out of South Africa, going against Israel Adesanya. He is the former champion. He is now a contender again, and I have to say, contender Izzy is something that always shows up, and I cannot wait to see what goes down. We get a lot of good fights. I'm going to go over the whole main card, kind of go over my predictions, what I think will go down, and as always, I will give you my sleeper fighter of the night, and I got a really fun one for you tonight, guys. So as always, thank you for tuning in, and here we go. First fight, main prediction. All right, guys, so opening up the main card, we have a banger. We have Carlos Prates going against the Leech, and this is going to be an absolute banger. Last time we saw the Leech out there was, I believe it was UFC 279, the Diaz versus Ferguson card. If you remember correctly, Hamzat, Kevin Holland were on that card. Everything kind of got chopped up. He was not originally supposed to fight Daniel Rodriguez, but he did end up taking it, and he suffered a split decision loss. That was a tough one, but Lee is a very good fighter. The Leech has an excellent stand-up game, excellent ground game. He is not what I would consider, a title contender anytime soon, but this would be a big win for him because Carlos Prates is the real deal, man. He is 3-0 in the UFC. He has finishes in every one of his fights, and he's an extremely exciting fighter to watch. For that, I think Prates gets it done. I have Carlos Prates by TKO round 2. Lock it in. All right, in the next fight, we have the heavyweights going at it, and this one is going to break my heart, so you guys probably already know where my prediction's going. We have Tai Tuivasa, one of my all-time favorite heavyweights, going against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, an excellently skilled heavyweight. Both of these guys are extremely well-rounded. Jairzinho is definitely the better wrestler than Tai. I just said Tai Tuivasa was well-rounded. I should probably take that back. Tai is a stand-and-bang type of fighter, does not have much of a ground game, and I think that is what has helped him rake up 4 losses in a row. He was just shoo-in with everybody. He was having a great time up until these last couple months, I guess you could say, or even years. He's had a really hard time in there. He lost to Cyril Gane. He lost to Sergey Pavlovich, Alexander Volkov, Marcin Tybura. At the end of the day, all those names that I just gave out are absolute killers. So to lose to those guys is somewhat admirable in itself. You got in the ring with those guys and tried to make it happen. But 4 losses in the row in the UFC, unless you're Tony Ferguson, means you're usually almost done. So this is a big fight for Tai Tuivasa. And Jairzinho Rozenstruik, second to his loss against Francis Ngannou, has looked excellent in the UFC. Francis starched him as he does almost anybody. But I think that Jairzinho has a serious chance to go out there and wrestle Tuivasa. If he sees any inclination from his last fights on how to beat Tai Tuivasa, you got to take him down. Ground and pound him, he'll get tired, and then when he stands back up, he's gassed. Work the body, upper head, body, head, and he'll make it happen. I got Jairzinho Rozenstruik by decision. Lock it in. All right, guys, now we are going to get to what I believe will be the fight of the night. Martuz Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. This is an absolute banger. If anybody saw the fight with Dan Hooker and Dustin Poirier in the Apex during COVID, I gained so much respect for Dan in that fight, man. He lost a split decision in that fight, but it was so damn close. A couple judges did give it to, one judge gave it to Dan, I should say. The other 2 gave it to Dustin. The sounds of those shots that they were hitting each other with in that empty Apex is something that will live with me forever.
Qué tirazazazo y están cumpliendo con las expectativas de lo que se esperaba. Hoy, tremenda maquinita, rodillazo, una última y tiempo.
And I will always have respect for Dan Hooker, but Martuz Gamrot, this dude is an animal. He is 24-2. He has some of the best wrestling game you will ever see. Great jiu-jitsu, great striking. I think Dan can keep up with him. Dan is long, he's lanky, he's got the reach advantage. I just worry that if Gamrot gets him to the ground, it is over. There's only so much you can do against Martuz Gamrot if he gets you on the floor. But Dan Hooker can get him to stand and bang with him, maybe get in his ego a little bit, let him know, if you're going to try to fight me like a man. Stop trying to take me to the ground. If he can get in his head like that and convince him to fight a different style than what he's used to, I think Dan Hooker can get it done. But in the reality of it, I truly think Gamrot shoots for the takedown early and often, holds him down, grounds and pound him, and submits him. I have Martuz Gamrot by submission, round 3. Lock it in. Alrighty, guys, co-main event time. I said this could have been a main event on any other pay-per-view. Maybe not pay-per-view, but fight nights for sure. This is an absolute banger, and I'm super excited for this fight. We have Steve Ursay going against Kai Kara-France in his home country. Kai Kara-France, along with Dan Hooker, who I didn't mention in the last fight. The main 3 fights on this card all have 3 guys fighting out of the same camp. Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker. and Kai Kara-France. And this one, Kai Kara-France goes against Steve Erceg, coming off arguably the best performance of his life, and he lost against Alejandro Pantoja. A lot of people thought he won that fight. I thought that he won that fight. I do not think Pantoja won. But at the end of the day, he does not have a belt wrapped around his waist, so he did not win. And this is really his chance. They were supposed to fight a little while back, I believe, and it kind of got delayed. Kai Kara-France in his hometown, this is a huge fight for him. If he can go out there and get the win, coming off of an injury, being in your hometown against a guy like Erceg, who a lot of people thought just won the belt, and he ended up getting it taken from him. This would be a big victory for him. I think Kai Kara-France is fast. His stand-up game is incredible. He's got really good outside leg kicks. He's good at checking the kick as well, and he's got great takedown defense. It's kind of not spoken on enough, but he's excellent at defending the takedowns. A couple wins by submission in his career as well, so don't sleep on that. And all that being said, at the end of the day, I have Steve Erceg. I think Erceg's pressure is unlike anything we've ever seen. I don't remember if this is 3 or 5 rounds. I thought I had heard somewhere it was 5, which will definitely benefit Erceg. He is somebody whose gas tank is just, it's unlimited. He doesn't get tired. He doesn't run out of time. I see Erceg winning this fight by decision, but I think it's going to be a very close fight. I have it going down 50-49 on all the scorecards. I think it's going to kind of bounce back and forth, and he's going to end up getting a split decision. So I got Erceg by decision. Lock it in. This main event, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be special. And now, for the main event of the evening, we have Dricus du Plessis defending his middleweight championship against Israel Adesanya. I'm at my place at work right now, so I can't go absolutely batshit crazy, but when I tell you I am more excited for this fight than a lot of fights going forward in the rest of the year, this, to me, is the ultimate stylistic standpoint fight. I think this is going to be so incredibly fun to watch. I think Dricus and Izzy both have incredible stand-up games. Dricus's wrestling, jiu-jitsu game might be a little bit better than Izzy, but Izzy has some of the best takedown defense in the world. You saw what Yoel Romero couldn't do to him. You saw what Robert Whittaker couldn't do to him. You saw what a lot of these guys that are known as excellent wrestlers couldn't do to him. And I'm so interested if Dricus will do the same. I truly think that Izzy has a giant chip on his shoulder, not just because of all the race stuff and who's the real African, and Drake is from South Africa, Israel Adesanya being an African American. It's just a whole big thing, and I don't even think Izzy wants his belt back. I don't even think he cares about the belt. I think he just wants to beat the ever-living dog shit out of Dricus du Plessis, which could go one of 2 ways. That could mean that he's over-aggressive and he gets caught, just like he did with Alex Pereira. Or that could mean that he's extra aggressive and he doesn't just, shoot and hope. He aims and fires. And that's also what he did to Alex Pereira. When he started countering those, he waited, he aimed, he fired, and he knocked his ass out. And one of the greatest knockouts of all time. Looking at who Alex Pereira has become now, I think that only makes that knockout even more special. Alex is looked at as pretty much like a god in the MMA community now. And Izzy starched him. Mind you, Alex has caught him 3 times. Alex has beaten him, in K1 kickboxing and then in the UFC. So I think the Dricus coming in at 21-2, excellent performance against Sean Strickland in his last fight. Some people thought that Sean won that fight. I did not. I think it was an excellent performance. At the end of the day, I got Israel Adesanya and new. I think Izzy gets it done. I not only have Izzy, but I have Izzy in absolutely dominant fashion. I think it's going to go down like the Whittaker fight. I think Drake has bit off a little more that he can chew, and it's going to be shown now who the real king of the jungle is. At the end of the day, Israel Adesanya is the man. He's back to show that. So I have Izzy by knockout round 3. Knockout, not TKO. He is starching this dude. Lock it in. Got a little aggressive there. I'm going to calm my ass down. This is my sleeper fighter of the night. Now, when I talk about a sleeper fighter, I always talk about somebody that I wasn't really aware of coming into it, and somebody that I would like to bring extra attention from the mainstream kind of, maybe not, I don't want to call them bandwagon fans, but guys that are just kind of entry level. Maybe they just started watching the sport. They're looking for somebody to kind of keep an eye on. I'm a diehard, and I wasn't that familiar with this guy. I know I had heard his name thrown out a little bit out there, talked about him as the opening fight of the night. Guys, Carlos Prates, I went back and watched some footage from him in the Contender Series. He was absolutely electric. He had some incredible fights in there. He won he won his Contender Series fight by knockout, and then all 3 basically by knockout. There was 2 TKOs, one by knee, one by punch, some by punches. He's an animal. In his last fight against Charlie Radke, that was what I thought was going to be his toughest test, and he dominated him. 1 minute, first round, he knocked this dude out with some knees. So I'm telling you, keep an eye on this kid. He's going against the Leech, who's an excellent fighter, but we've kind of seen what happens with the Leech, right? Hamzat Chimaev, all these guys, he kind of gets fed as a stepping stool. And I don't think he's a stepping stool, but I think Pratis is going to work this dude. I think he's going to dog walk him, honestly. I have him beating him up really bad. Tune in. Carlos Pratis, sleeper fighter of the night. Yeah, lock it in. All right, guys, that about does it. UFC 305 live August 17th from Perth, Australia, 10 p.m. Eastern time. We got some really fun fights. Prelim card has some fun fights on it too. This video is already like friggin' 10 minutes long, so I'm not going to go into that as well. But just listen, I always appreciate the love and support. Got a couple people that have noticed I've been pretty good with my picks lately. I got Aspinall time round everything when it was going to happen. I don't think anybody saw Bilal happening, so I got that one brutally wrong. But yeah, I've been trying to make sure that my predictions are out there. I stick to them. And if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I just like to kind of give people some fun prop bets if they want to do it. Picking the round, picking the way that it's happening. But yeah, I just appreciate the support. As anybody who's ever done this knows, it's not easy to just like put yourself out there and talk about stuff. But the support has been incredible just from a lot of my close family and friends, especially my UFC buddies. They're like, dude, I've made a couple bucks from the stuff you're doing. So thank you for the support. I appreciate everything you guys do for me. As always, shoot a like on here, throw a comment, throw your predictions in my comments, please. I want to see what other people are thinking. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, I'll see you guys at the top. Thank you for tuning in.